Special friend Verna here with me. Good morning, Verna. How are you
Good morning,
today?
Evelyn. I am blessed. Thank you so
Good,
much for
good, good,
having me.
good,
I'm
good.
excited
Yes, well, I'm
to
very
be
glad to
here with
have you. We've been
you.
trying to get this
Yeah,
scheduled for a while between
absolutely.
your
I've been
busy schedule.
anticipating.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She's been excited but nervous, right?
Right, right. Absolutely.
Actually, she is with Keller Williams, and so she
Yes.
does her own live social media. So she's kind of a little bit used to this already, too. So,
Yeah, but it's very different when you're the one being interviewed as opposed
exactly.
to interviewing
Yeah.
others. You ask all the
Yeah,
questions, putting them on the
exactly.
hot seat,
Yeah, it makes it you already know what you're gonna do.
Right, right. Now I'm just like, please don't ask me that. Please don't ask me that. Please don't. No,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just like.
exactly. And Verna's like, okay, Evelyn, don't ask me that. Don't ask me that. So and we tried to have a little time to talk before, and we didn't. So just stay tuned, and we'll have surprises for you.
Oh
No.
yeah, that's the best thing, impromptu, right? You
Yeah,
never
that's
know
right.
what's
That's
gonna
right. Yeah, yeah,
happen.
that's right. Exactly.
Right.
We did talk, and I don't know about many of you, but I text a lot, and in today's world, which is nice because I know in a lot of meetings I'm in, it used to be it's like, well, put your phone away,
Right.
but now we do because we all understand. You may have to text say yes, I can
That's
be there at
it.
5 or whatever, and so
A
we
lot of
do
times I
text a
prefer
lot.
the text because of
Yes,
that simple
yes,
situation. I'm in a meeting with somebody. It's
right,
rude to pick up the phone. At least you
exactly.
can say, "Excuse me," real quick,
Mhm,
respond, and
mhm,
keep it
mhm.
moving, or find a break in your
Right,
conversation and do it.
right.
So yeah, I'm
Right,
with
and
you
when
there.
you have a busy life, like we both do, that's a great way to and let other people know because they're waiting. Can you meet at this time or not?
Yes.
Or I need the contract, or I need whatever.
Yeah.
And
Most
so it's
definitely.
it's kind of I guess a way impersonal, but then you make up for it when we get together.
There you
So
go.
we're good. So
You feel my
we've been
love. No.
good. That's right. That's right. Exactly.
Definitely
Exactly.
feel the love.
For sure. And of course, Vern and I are both from the Sugar Land area,
Yes.
but we've been both involved in Houston for many years. And I've
Hmm.
lived here for a long time, and I know you have too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Over 30
yeah,
years. It
yeah.
tells my age
I
there.
know, yeah. Don't be any secret. You notice I didn't say
No
how many years.
secrets. No
See, so I'm trying to
secrets.
keep that secret so you don't know how old I really am.
Right,
We've been trying to keep that private, right?
right. I got you. I got you.
So anyway, our previous half hour, of course, was about mental health issues and things that people deal with in life. And I know a lot of times, with our elderly parents, or of course, we're all aging ourselves too. Thank goodness, the
Mhm.
alternative's
Mhm.
not so good, and so
Right.
so it's a blessing to be aging. But one thing that does happen as you have elderly parents is, are they going to live with you? Sometimes they
Yes.
may have physical health issues that they aren't able to take care of themselves anymore, and
Mhm.
and that type of thing. And so, as Vern and I were talking, we felt that was a very important topic. And since you're a realtor with Keller Williams, and,
Yes.
and an excellent one at that, by the way,
Thank you. I appreciate
but
that.
she
Aw.
is, well, you're welcome. You do a great job and have been involved. And, also as being with Keller Williams, Brenda does a lot in the community also. And,
Mhm.
every year we do a thing in May with the Boys and Girls Club in Richmond with Keller
Mhm.
Williams. It's
So
called Red
fun.
Day. And so we have an old fashioned carnival, and which is very fun. And that's
Mhm.
all time that you all donate
Yes.
too. So which is
Most
greatly
definitely.
appreciated. So not only is she a good realtor, but she does a lot in our community too. So we appreciate it.
Just following in her
Yeah.
footsteps.
Yeah.
But you did mention something very key is that we often don't have enough conversations around
Right.
our aging parents and what to do.
Mhm.
And that's what I
Exactly.
hope to stop, right?
Right.
We're in a time frame, you
Mhm.
were mentioning
Mhm.
text, that this generation that we're
Mhm.
having multiple
Mhm.
generations that are still in the
Mhm.
workforce, that are still with us, and
Right.
that's a blessing to have
Yes,
them.
it
But
is.
how do we make sure
Mhm.
that we care for
Mhm.
that blessing? And in
Mhm.
real estate,
Mhm.
we tend to find this where people have not had
Mhm.
those conversations. They
Mhm.
don't know what to do,
Mhm.
and they're
Mhm.
having a challenging time having that conversation with their
Right.
parents as to
Right.
what does life look like for you in the next
Mhm.
10, 20
Mhm.
years, and
Mhm.
how are we
Mhm.
involved in that
Right.
situation. So yeah, most definitely
Right.
would love to talk about that,
Yeah.
so that we can make
Mhm.
our listeners, our viewers aware.
Right.
And if you haven't
Mhm.
started
Mhm.
that conversation, the
Yeah, it's
holiday
time to do
times is
so.
a great
Yeah.
time to do
Yeah.
that. We've gathered as
Mhm.
family and
Mhm.
friends, and
Mhm.
so now
Mhm.
it's a
Mhm.
great
Mhm.
opportunity to just start some conversations lovingly.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Lovingly. That's the key word, right?
lovingly.
Lovingly. But
That
I
could.
think I think too that as people age, you are used to being in your own home,
Yes.
and you may be getting where you may not be able to feed yourself, or you don't feel like cooking, because you still need to eat and things like that.
Hmm.
And the people that you've spoken to, I'm sure you're finding it's very difficult for them to think of where else am I going to live, or what can I do, because they don't want to leave that home possibly that they've been in for maybe 20 years or however
Most
long.
definitely. A study was done, and about 90% of the aging population over 65 are seasoned citizens, as I love to
Right.
affectionately call them,
Yeah,
prefer
I
to be
like
at
that.
home.
Seasoned
They're very
citizens. I
seasoned.
like
They have
that.
some flavor. You need to just tap
Yes.
into that flavor, every once in a while, or a
Right.
lot, so that you can be
Right.
seasoned as you age
Yeah.
gracefully as
That's
well.
us. I like that. That's our new
Right?
word, Verna. We're
Seasoned.
seasoned. I
Very
like that.
seasoned.
So good. Yeah.
You know.
You
Little
all can
dash,
use
little
that too.
dash,
That's
right? Sprinkle
okay.
a little
Yeah.
something. That's the wisdom y'all give us. Sprinkle a little
That's
season.
right.
Sprinkle a little
Right.
season.
I mean, food tastes better with season. Right.
That's
Seasoning.
it.
So, yep.
That's it. And so therefore, food is life. Life tastes better with
Yeah,
season.
that's
So
right. I like that. Very
yeah,
good.
most definitely. So yeah, so 90% of them prefer to stay at home. And for some people this is very feasible. It's an option to explore,
Right.
and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But there's also four other options when it comes to housing for senior citizens.
Okay.
You have that time frame where you have that independent living and that aging in place is what I love to call it, and what most of the society calls it, is part of independent living. But you also have independent facilities, living facilities, and then you have the aging home care, adult home care. This sometimes people call it. It could be an extended adult home,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
Okay.
typically privately
Yeah.
owned. You have 4 to 5 families in there, and they're carrying along as if they are families, though they're separate members. You have someone in there who will remind them about taking their medication. Because when you're
Right.
talking about
Because
the
sometimes you get confused as you get older.
yes, that's the thing. You see, with seasoned citizens and family members, you have to just kind
Right.
of think like about the aging process. And you could have fully functioning parents, and times they forget about medication.
Right.
Maybe the
Forget to eat,
home
which I
forget
can't
to
imagine,
eat.
but sometimes they forget
Oh
to eat.
no.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not
Yeah.
as seasoned. I mean, I got a little flavor, but
Yeah.
I forget to eat. You get busy.
Busy.
You get busy, and and so with these
Mhm.
active adults, sometimes it is that they forget to eat, or they feel
Right.
like they just ate. You know,
Right.
their appetite is not as large, so it doesn't take much, right, to forget that
Right.
I'm not hungry.
Right. Or they're not
Um,
getting exercise
I'm
like
not
they
getting
used to. They're not
exercise.
involved like they were, or working,
Absolutely.
or in the community or whatever.
You're mentioning a
Mm-hmm.
lot of
Mm-hmm.
challenges that we see faced with the aging community.
Right. Right.
Isolation, loneliness. So if they're there by themselves, maybe it was that
Mm-hmm.
they started off with 2 parents at the
Right.
home,
Right.
and then one for some reason is no longer there,
Mhm,
right? Or
mhm,
maybe it is
mhm.
both of them,
Exactly.
and the home
Which
they've
goes
been.
back to depression and that type of thing too.
Exactly.
Mhm,
Matter of
mhm,
fact, isolation is one of the leading factors of having
mhm,
depression in the
mhm.
elderly,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And so,
I can understand that.
other things that people don't
Mhm,
consider is
mhm.
just, as you're aging gracefully, your body kind of changes and it does things
Right.
that you don't want it to do, or
Right.
things that
Yeah.
you
Or you
thought is
can't do
happening and
things
you
you
can't
used to be able
control.
to do, which
Right.
is very
So
hard.
now the
Mhm,
home
mhm,
itself is not safe enough
mhm. That's
these
true.
for our
Mhm,
seasoned loved ones,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
so making sure, I mean, here you have these parents who've probably been in this home for over 30 years,
Right.
right?
Right. Right, you
Um,
raised the family
raise
there.
the
It's like the
family
only
there.
place they feel comfortable with. They know all your possessions are there.
Absolutely. They understand the
Mhm,
community,
mhm.
even if they don't talk to the
Right. Yeah,
neighbors, right?
that's
But
right,
they know
exactly.
who not to
Yes,
talk
yes,
to.
yeah.
They're settled in their ways, and
Right,
as well
yeah.
they should
Mhm.
be,
Right,
right?
right.
They
Mhm,
built this community
mhm,
and this
mhm.
life around them, and it
Right.
was intentional, right?
Exactly.
And so
Intentional is a good word. I like that.
very
It's very
intentional.
intentional.
It's very
Absolutely,
intentional. And so
absolutely.
approaching them
Mhm,
with
mhm,
empathy and grace so that
mhm,
you
mhm.
understand what they're valuing, allow them to
Right.
process through that. But
Mhm,
making sure that the
mhm,
home, if you choose to age in place,
mhm,
that the home is
mhm.
conducive to that aging
Right,
process, right? So
right.
safety is one of those things. And so we'll talk about that. So I mentioned independent living,
Mhm,
aging in place goes within that adult
mhm,
family care
mhm,
home, assisted
mhm.
living. Now, this is the most
Okay,
popular.
okay.
It's middle of the
Mhm,
range
mhm,
when it comes to
mhm,
pricing, just depending
mhm,
on
mhm.
your
Sure.
needs. And in these
Mhm,
assisted living
mhm,
communities, you have one
mhm,
portion that's
mhm,
memory
mhm,
care, and
mhm,
that's,
mhm,
as you're talking
mhm,
about,
mhm.
mental health and things of that sort.
Right,
So as
right.
you
Because a lot of
age,
times that does the, yeah, memory, whether it's
memory care is
Alzheimer's or
huge.
early dementia
Right.
or something can
So
happen.
this is going to be a
Mhm,
little bit
mhm, mhm.
more restrictive. So
Right.
lockdown
Mhm,
situations so that you
mhm,
don't have
mhm, mhm,
your
mhm.
seasoned loved ones walking away
Right.
unattended, and then
Mhm,
you're doing like a
mhm.
all call trying to find them,
Right,
right?
right.
So the assisted
Mhm,
living could
mhm,
have a section that is memory care, and then
mhm,
just the traditional
mhm,
assisted living
mhm, mhm,
facility, and then you also have
mhm,
skilled nursing
mhm,
facility, and this is one where
mhm.
you have a lot more depending on your your health and
Okay.
medical
Right.
needs. You have
Right.
skilled nurses
Mhm.
who can,
Mhm.
address those needs
Mhm.
right there in the
Mhm.
facility. And of course,
Mhm.
this is mostly when people
Just
think
a
of
quick question to
retirement
go back to
homes.
assisted living,
Right.
then that is where you still can take care of yourself somewhat.
Somewhat, but it
Or,
ranges.
right, right.
So it
Like you said, the
ranges.
difference between the
So
memory care section or whatever too.
most definitely.
Mhm.
So memory care, of
Mhm.
course, is going to be
Mhm.
dealing with
Mhm.
all those things
Mhm.
that are restricting you
Right.
based on
Right.
mental, right?
Mhm.
And so it's
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
protect the environment a
Mhm.
little bit
Mhm.
more
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
restrict a
Mhm.
little bit of that freedom. So yes,
Right.
assisted living is going to have
Right.
a little bit more
Mhm. Mhm.
independence. However, people
Mhm.
choose an assisted living facility
Mhm.
when they know they
Mhm.
need to ramp it up on
Gotcha.
services, right?
Mhm.
You have
Because you have 24-hour a day care too,
you
which is
do.
important.
And
Right.
depending, one thing that's
Mhm.
important to express with your loved ones and make sure that as a
Mhm.
family you guys
Mhm.
come up with
Mhm. Mhm.
a solution is to ask the assisted living facility what type of
Right.
licensing they have.
Oh, okay.
So based on their
Okay.
licensing will
Mhm.
depend
Mhm.
on the level of care that they can actually
Mhm.
administer
Mhm.
because this
Mhm.
is going to provide certain type of nursing.
Right.
Um, and it doesn't get as deep as
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
skilled nursing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But it's
Correct.
still certain
Right.
types of
But
nursing
you still
facilities.
have meals with the other people there.
You
I know a
do.
lot of times, ones I've been in, there's, little dogs running around and things for pets, and, that's so
Absolutely.
important
They
to have
have a
animals, and
community
yeah.
calendar.
Yes.
They
Mhm.
have things to
Activities through the day. Yeah.
stimulate
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
cranium.
Right,
They
right,
have
right,
things
right.
to help with health and fitness, right?
Mhm.
They make
Mhm.
sure you're getting
Mhm.
3 meals a day and that those
Right.
meals
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
nutritionally sound for
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
our aging needs.
Right. Right.
They assist with medication.
Mhm.
They assist
Mhm.
even
Mhm.
sometimes in some transitional or assisted living facilities. They even
Mhm.
have assisting with temporary
Mhm.
rehab, right?
Oh,
So
right,
certain
right. So
things.
you've just left the hospital
Right,
if you
right,
need help. Yeah.
right.
Gotcha.
And
Oh, that's
during the
good.
holiday
Mhm.
season, some
Mhm.
people aren't aware of this, but during the holiday season, some assisted living facilities
Mhm.
actually
Mhm.
offer
Mhm.
temporary
Mm.
care.
Oh,
So,
oh,
to
okay.
kind of give the
Oh,
family
right.
some reprieve,
Oh, that's
because
wonderful. Yeah, because it is
it takes a
being a
lot, right?
caregiver can be very
Being a
exhausting, and
caregiver,
then that caregiver has the
yeah,
same issues with
yes.
depression, anxiety,
Yes.
that type
And
of thing
holiday
too.
time
So
frame
yeah,
can be very
yeah,
stressful.
yeah,
You did a
yeah,
segment on just
yeah.
purchasing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
During
Right,
the holiday
exactly.
season, the stress of doing that and finding the
Exactly.
deals and
And to
trying to cut
save
in front
some
of
money.
people
Yeah.
and right?
That's right.
So these family members are having all this stress, and so
Yeah.
they may, if they've been helping
Oh,
them
that's
age in
wonderful.
place
That's good to
or
know. So,
they're in the home,
yeah,
yeah,
so you can go, your loved one could be in good hands, and a
absolutely.
little vacation for them too, in a
Absolutely.
way, to
Out
do
there
all these
where we
things.
stay
Yeah.
in Fort Bend, there's one
Uh-huh.
Inspired
Mhm.
Living. So they
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
that
Mhm. Oh,
in
that's
that community. So
wonderful.
that's an
Right.
example of an assisted
Mhm.
living
And
facility
they'd
that,
have the nursing care and everything too that that
hmm
person may need.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Great.
And
Great.
then finally, the most expensive, the most restrictive, I guess. Actually, it's not as restrictive because you have an option. It's like a master plan retirement community.
Ah.
Is
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
it's a continual care facility, CCF.
Right.
I just call it
Mhm.
CCF and I forget what it's
Yeah.
called. Continued care facility. This is
Uh-huh.
more of a master plan retirement community. You will have a
Okay.
little bit of everything in there. You can have
Mhm.
assisted living in
Mhm.
there. You can
Mhm.
have aging
Mhm.
in place
Mhm.
going on. The adult home
Mhm.
care
Mhm.
facilities
Mhm.
going on
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
All of those things are there, and
Right.
sometimes they even require you to buy in. So to
Ah.
buy in,
Okay.
purchase a home, and then you
Ah.
pay an additional
Mhm.
monthly fee,
Mhm.
which kind of
Mhm.
helps with
Mhm.
the
Yeah, I've seen those.
nursing.
I know we have one out in our area
Yes.
that there's all kinds of activities, but these people are still able to take care of themselves. They own the home, or they are purchasing the home. There's all kinds of activities in the
Right.
clubhouse, all kinds of things.
Right.
So yeah, those are good
So
too.
builders have
Mhm.
recognized
Mhm.
this, right? They
Mhm. Mhm.
understand you have these
Mhm.
next gen
Mhm.
homes, you have
Right.
these homes with
Mhm.
casitas, which are just
Mhm. Mhm.
basically an
Mhm.
apartment
Mhm.
styled
Mhm.
extension of your
Mhm.
building.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then you have these
Mhm.
55 plus active adult
Right.
neighborhoods and
Uh-huh.
communities that you're
Uh-huh.
saying.
Right.
And
Right.
they facilitate a lot of
Mhm.
activities, bingo night,
Mhm.
different things where
Right.
they can go.
A lot of
Um,
fun and
a
fellowship with
lot
the
of fun
other
and
people
fellowship.
that live there.
I think we
Mhm.
take for
Mhm.
granted fun
Yeah.
and fellowship with others and
Mhm.
how that
Mhm.
extends our life,
Oh, it does. It's so important.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So those are some of the things that are out there. And by far, these things can
Mhm.
range in
Mhm.
price.
Right.
which is kind of why some people are hesitant
Right, because it can
on
be very
planning.
expensive, as you
It
know.
can be.
Mhm,
It can
mhm,
be.
mhm.
I have some statistics here on some of
Mhm,
these. As a matter of fact, the
mhm,
National um, Government Facility for Housing found that, let me see, where is my notes here? Um,
mhm.
it was
Thank
about,
goodness for our
okay, there we go,
here
long-term
we go.
care gov.
Yeah, okay.
So the average cost of a semi-private, now this is average across the board,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Here in the
mhm,
greater Houston
mhm,
area, of course,
mhm,
our
mhm.
prices can fluctuate
Right, right.
based on the fact that we do have the number one medical center,
Yeah,
right? And so
exactly.
that type of care
Mhm,
can impact
mhm.
kind of what
Right.
your cost will be, as
Mhm,
well as,
mhm,
I mean, our
mhm,
housing
mhm,
prices can compete with the best of them,
mhm,
right?
mhm. Right.
So depending on the land and where they found it, so you'll find a
Mhm,
lot of assisted
mhm,
living.
mhm.
I've lived in the Fort Bend area for over 30 years, and
Right.
I watched it
Yeah.
grow, right? And
Oh,
before, a
you've
lot
seen
of,
it grow
yes, a lot of the senior
substantially.
options
Mhm,
were
mhm.
further out in Richmond,
Right,
Rosenberg, and I
right.
always
And
wondered why.
limited.
Very
Yeah,
limited,
very
very
limited.
limited. It's a
Correct.
lot more
Right.
now, right? You have a
Yes.
lot of
Thank
options. It's
goodness.
just about
Mhm,
educating people
mhm.
on the options. But I used
Right,
to wonder,
right,
why are they that far out? Well,
right.
land
Yeah.
prices were
Prices,
cheaper.
land prices. Yeah, that makes
Right.
sense.
Land
Yeah.
prices were
To put the
cheaper.
building on the land. Yeah.
Exactly. And to
Mhm,
build out these
mhm. Sure.
facilities and provide the
Mhm,
care that's needed, the cost
mhm,
and just having
mhm.
these skilled professionals
Right.
available can be exorbitant, right? So you got
Mhm,
to
mhm.
figure out ways to decrease those costs. And so land prices
Right.
was
Now,
it.
do you, and you may not know this question. If you don't, it's okay,
May
but
not, maybe
but
one
we
of the
can
ones I'm
try.
like,
Yeah.
don't ask me, my husband. Ah, just fine.
We'll Google it really quick, right?
Real quick, real
But what
quick.
about Medicare and that type of thing?
So
Do a
for
lot of
some of
these
these
facilities
assistants,
take
yes,
Medicare?
they do
Yeah.
they will. So a lot of it is private pay,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Right.
Especially at
Right.
home, some of the adult home cares
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
assisted living.
Mhm. Mhm.
However, some facilities, depending on the licensing that they have and how it's
Mhm.
coded,
Right.
will allow some Medicaid Part B
Ah,
to help,
okay.
as well as
Okay.
Medicare to
Ah,
assist with
okay.
that as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
But you just kind of have to ask. Some of it is income
Mhm.
dependent,
Mhm.
but there
Mhm.
are several
Mhm.
programs out there. AARP also has a list
Mm.
of
Oh, okay. I
services
wouldn't have
and
thought of that.
programs and
Okay,
grants
great. Yeah.
that are out there to
And what does
assist.
AARP stand for? Let me give you a quiz here. Retired People Association of, anyway, it's retired people, AARP. I don't know what the other A is store for.
I can come
Anyway,
up with
so
something.
it, yeah. Verna's very creative. So between us, we'll make up something if we can't remember what it is. So
I have no idea. I always called it AARP.
I
No,
think it's Association of
uh,
Active Retired People. I don't
maybe
like that word
so. I
active,
mean, that sounds
but
about
anyway,
right.
it is. Yeah, I think
Just
it's.
comment
I
down
forget what's the
below
thing.
or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Let
That's
us know.
right.
Feel
Yeah, let
safe.
us
Feel
know.
safe.
Yeah, you need to educate us sometimes too.
Educate us.
See, so.
But no, AARP and Long Term Care Gov and different other
Mhm.
government institutions
Mhm,
will
mhm,
have a
mhm.
list of grants that are
Right.
out there. And
Mhm,
it's just about researching to make sure that you
mhm,
can actually
mhm,
apply for that
mhm.
grant and that it suits your
Oh,
needs. Even grants
oh,
for
interesting.
assisting with
Wow.
decluttering, which if you're
Ah,
gonna either
mhm,
age in place or
mhm,
help your
mhm.
parents transition, that's one thing to
Right.
understand is as you age, you
Mhm,
start to
mhm,
accumulate
mhm,
things. And
mhm,
part of
mhm,
that is to
mhm,
cope with
mhm.
loss, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Either
very hard.
through
Mhm,
death or just the loss of the fact that your
mhm,
kiddos are no
mhm.
longer with you, right? And
Right.
you just start, oh, my
Right.
mom, oh, I hate to
Mhm.
put you out there, mama, but
Yeah.
you know,
She
she
had a
went from
tough
a house
time
of
when you left.
seven,
Oh,
right, to
wow.
now a
Oh,
house of
wow.
two,
It got
right?
very
And
quiet.
so, right. And it was four
Yeah.
boys. So it was always bustling
Oh.
with noise
Oh,
and activity.
right.
And I watched her
Mhm.
slowly,
Mhm.
gradually start accumulating things to replace the busyness
Right.
of the family, right? And so it is. It's a way of coping
Mhm.
with loss, right?
Right.
And so helping
Mhm.
them to process what's important to them,
Mhm.
what really needs
Mhm.
to stay, what's
Right.
needed, and
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
what needs to
Mhm.
they need to part
Mhm.
ways with,
Mhm.
right? And
Right.
allowing them to
Mhm.
verbalize those things so that they can
Mhm. Mhm.
adequately let go
Right,
is huge,
right. And
right?
I know that the first half hour we talked about volunteering in the community too, which is very important because there's always other people out there. And I know
Absolutely.
there's different AARP groups in
Mm-hmm.
our area, in the Sugar Land area. And I'm not sure about Houston, but I'm sure there are some also.
Most
But they
definitely.
have luncheons together because I've actually helped them get speakers before, at the luncheons, activities that they do together. We're very lucky in the Sugar Land area that we have a senior citizen center where
Yes.
there's all kinds of activities there,
Right. Right.
too.
There's a
So,
lot of different things. I think
mhm.
in Fort Bend alone, I think we have
Mhm,
upwards of 700 people there, and 11%
Mhm,
of that,
mhm,
it's
mhm.
probably closer to
Yeah,
800,000 at this point,
right, yeah.
because 11% of those people are
Mhm,
over the
mhm.
age of
Oh,
65,
wow. Okay,
right?
okay.
And so
Mhm, mhm.
that's a huge chunk,
Yeah, that
right?
is.
That we need to make sure
Absolutely.
that we're providing
Right.
options for them.
And hopefully, I didn't have time to do research prior to, but I hope our whole area does that and around the United States too.
Most
I
definitely.
hope so.
Most definitely. I think
Yeah.
in United States, it's based on the
Mhm,
last
mhm,
census that was done. I think it's
mhm,
actually
mhm,
averaging around
mhm.
7%, whereas
Okay.
we're a little above
Right.
the average in
Mhm,
terms of our rate.
mhm,
So,
mhm, mhm.
so yeah, making sure you
Because
have
it
those
is important.
options.
Like I said,
Yeah.
we're aging, thank goodness,
Right.
which is a good
Right.
thing, but we're all going to be there at some point, and
Most
we do need
definitely.
to have these things, these set in place, to plan ahead and like to be intentional
Hmm.
and go and talk to your family members about this is what is going to be the next step for you.
Right. And what I see,
Mhm,
in real estate is, and
mhm,
I'm not
mhm,
sure where I
mhm,
can attribute this
mhm.
to, but I
Right.
have a hunch, right?
Mhm,
But what I
mhm,
see is a lot of times in the Fort Bend community, what they choose to
mhm,
do is downsize and not
mhm,
necessarily move into an
mhm.
assisted living, right?
Right.
They
That's true. I
keep
see that
they
too.
keep their
Mhm,
parents kind of closer
mhm,
to them. They
mhm,
just don't want them
mhm,
to have as much responsibility. And so,
mhm,
they
mhm,
utilize the sale of the home and the asset from that
mhm.
home, because a lot of times,
Ah,
if
sure.
you've been in that
Mhm,
home for years, right?
mhm, mhm,
I forgot the percentage, but it was something around 18%.
mhm,
20
mhm,
between 18 and
mhm,
20% of people over the age of 64 to about 74
mhm,
own their homes
mhm.
outright, right?
Oh,
So there's no
right,
mortgage.
right. Mhm,
And
mhm,
then about the lower end, 18 from
mhm, mhm,
74 to 84 own their home outright. So here
mhm,
you have
mhm,
these seasoned loved ones who have aged gracefully, they've taken care of their
mhm.
business,
Right.
and they
Mhm,
want to just
mhm,
kind of liquidate their assets to be able to pay for the
mhm,
rest of their care,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
And so they're
mhm,
able to do that with
mhm.
the
So
equity
they
in the
sell that
home.
home with the equity.
Right,
Right. Mhm,
right. Or
mhm,
sometimes if
mhm,
they choose to
mhm,
age in place, which just simply
mhm,
means that they're staying
mhm,
within their
mhm,
home
mhm,
and within
mhm.
the community that they're in. Um,
Right.
and then some could
Mhm,
choose to do, who have
mhm,
not paid it
mhm,
outright or who
mhm,
have,
mhm,
they
mhm.
can borrow against it. So using the
Oh,
federal,
okay.
um,
Mhm, mhm,
um, basically equity
mhm,
conversion
mhm, mhm,
program
mhm.
to do that. So they just kind
Hmm,
of
mhm,
reverse their
mhm.
mortgage in a
Oh,
sense,
gotcha.
right? And
Yeah,
so
well,
they
that's good to
use
know.
that
Mhm,
income
mhm,
to
mhm,
pay for their
mhm,
stay.
mhm,
So, but the
mhm,
cost can vary.
mhm,
Aging in
mhm,
place has costs associated with prepping the
right,
home
right. Mhm,
to
mhm,
facilitate
mhm,
them
mhm,
safely, because you
mhm.
want them to be safe, to
Right.
facilitate their mental
Mhm,
health as
mhm,
well. So
mhm,
people coming
mhm,
in, checking in on them, and if your family's not going to do that, then you're paying
mhm,
services for people to do
mhm,
that. And so it can
mhm.
range, right?
Right, because when you were talking about property, one thing I was thinking, of course, it's usually when you've been in a home for so many years, you have in our area, I know some places we don't have as big a yards or whatever, but you have to mow the grass,
Yes.
maintenance, that type of thing, which you're
Yes.
not able to physically do
Right.
anymore,
Right.
too. So, yeah.
So you can have services come out and help
Mm-hmm,
you with
mm-hmm.
those things,
Right,
help you with
right.
even reminding them
Mm-hmm,
to eat or different things of that sort,
right.
if
Mm-hmm,
that's where they are.
mm-hmm,
But things like changing your shower,
mm-hmm,
right, to
mm-hmm.
make
Right.
it easier for the
Mm-hmm,
seasoned loved ones
mm-hmm,
to step in and out. Changing your
mm-hmm.
doorknobs, instead of them being the knob, to being levers,
Mhm. Yeah,
because
because you may have arthritis in
arthritis,
your hands or
right?
something. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Or
Mhm.
adding a ramp or widening out the doors to be
Mhm.
36 inches.
Mhm.
Now, the newer homes,
Mhm.
builders are conscious of this, right?
Oh,
That
good. Yeah.
generationally
Glad to
we
hear
have a
that.
lot of them, right? So a lot of times the
Yeah.
newer construction homes already have
Mhm.
done this universal
Mhm.
design of
Mhm.
widening the doors to 36
Mhm.
inches so the
Mhm.
wheelchair can
Mhm.
fit through,
That's good to know. I'm glad
and
to
then
hear
the
that.
hallways to be a
Yeah.
lot wider, right?
Right.
So that they can easily
Mhm.
go in and out.
Mhm.
But some things that
Mhm.
people don't even
Mhm.
consider, every second
Right.
counts in an emergency situation. And
Mhm.
so even things like
Mhm.
making the letters and the
Mhm.
numbers of your
Ah.
home on the
Where you
exterior
can see it.
larger,
Mhm,
right?
mm.
So
I'll
that
tell you what,
emergency
I think that's a
responders,
big thing, and
that's
please,
a big
everyone,
thing.
please, whether it's on your driveway, your house,
Yes.
even when I've tried to find someone's home,
Oh,
I have a horrible time finding the numbers. I thought,
look.
well, just think of
Finding
the
homes
fire
is my
department.
job,
Yeah,
and oh my
yeah.
gosh, it's so hard
Oh,
sometimes. You're
oh,
like,
yeah.
is it on
Yeah, the
the
door
door?
to the
Is it on the
right.
floor? Like
Yeah, yeah. Is it
where
on the
is it?
Is it on the
Yeah, the
street?
little
Is it?
curb, like where is
Yes.
it? So
Mhm.
that's important, not
Mhm.
just for
Mhm.
our seasoned
Mhm.
loved
Yeah.
ones, but just for anybody. You know,
Yes.
first
Oh, I
responders need
agree.
to not sit here
Mhm.
trying to
Mhm.
knock on doors trying to figure out
Right.
what is your
Right.
address, right?
Exactly. Especially the
So
ambulance, the fire department, or
most
whatever.
definitely, most
Mhm.
definitely. So
I
that's
agree.
something simple, but then the costs start amassing when because a lot of our seasoned
Mhm.
loved ones, about a
Yeah.
quarter of them haven't done any type of repair to
Mhm.
their home in over 10 years,
Years.
right? So there's
Right.
AC that might be a problem here in
Mhm.
hot
Mhm.
Houston.
Yes, yes. Well, I went
That's
to
an
dinner,
issue,
the people that do our accounting for our nonprofit
right?
organization, we went to dinner last night, and they said, one of them said that they're replacing all the pipes in their roof,
Yes,
or
yeah.
inside
Inside
the
the
house. It's
house,
a
right,
one-story house,
right,
but you're right.
right.
I don't think of that, and that's a huge
That's a huge
project.
one. That's a
But that's
huge
the
project
other
that could
thing to
cost.
decide, do you want to stay in that older home or not, too?
Yes, most definitely.
Mhm.
So these are all
Mhm.
things to
Mhm.
consider because
Mhm.
it could be a cheaper route or less
Right.
expensive route to age in place, or it may
Mhm.
be more feasible
Mhm.
for you to actually
Mhm.
do like an adult home care or
Mhm.
an assisted
Mhm.
living
Mhm.
facility where
Mhm.
their
Mhm.
prices range
Mhm.
somewhere around 3,600 a month,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
upwards. With
Okay.
memory care, of course,
Right.
costing a lot more.
More. Mhm.
So that's just
Mhm.
average. I've even
Mhm.
seen about 7,000 a
Mhm.
month. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah, it depends on where you want to be and
it's
what you can
86,000 a
afford and so on,
year,
right?
right? And
Well, I know I've
so
met families that have their parents or parent or whatever
mhm,
that come and
mhm.
live with them also,
Most definitely.
which
Most
is
definitely.
another possibility if
Yes.
that's the route you
And
want to
even
go.
and if you go that
Mhm.
route, it's
Mhm.
still about
Mhm.
protecting them in the home and creating safe
Exactly.
situations. Having
Mhm.
one door
Mhm.
at least
Mhm.
access in the house
Mhm.
that doesn't require a
Mhm.
step, right? So
Right.
simple things like that to just
Mhm.
kind of keep them
Mhm. Mhm.
safe is
And then
huge.
going back to the dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever, that I also had another friend that her mother was living with them,
Hmm.
but then she would cook and forget to turn the stove off and things like that. So at a certain point, then it does have to change for the
Hmm.
safety of the family and
Hmm.
your loved one
Hmm.
too.
Hmm.
But it's good to know all
A
these
lot of
options are
times,
out there.
people go
Hmm.
and because they're at home, but we're working, right?
Hmm.
So
Right.
utilizing adult
Hmm. Hmm.
daycare. And so
Right.
those costs can
Right.
start to. So it's
Hmm.
just really about sitting
Hmm.
down and having a
Hmm.
conversation with your seasoned
Hmm.
loved ones on
Hmm.
where do you see life in the next 10 to 20 years
Right,
and
and like you said,
ideally what
gently
would that
too,
look
and
like?
right, right,
Yeah.
gently, and explain to them, you love them very
Yeah.
much, and
Yeah.
you want to do the best thing for
Yeah.
them, but kind of start talking about it, kind of prepare
Yeah,
for it.
and in
Yeah.
Fort Bend, we are very
Mhm.
diverse, right?
Right,
Actually, the
right.
most diverse county in
Mhm,
the
mhm,
nation.
mhm, mhm,
And being that I'm from Lagos, Nigeria myself, my mom,
mhm, mhm.
I don't know if
Yeah.
she's kidding or not. It hasn't happened yet, but she will easily say that she does not want to go
Mhm,
to a retirement type
mhm,
home. She'd rather
mhm,
go back
mhm,
home
mhm.
to Nigeria where they take
Aw.
care
Oh,
of their
right,
loved
yeah,
ones and
yeah.
she could just stay at home, right? She'll say, I'll just go there
Yeah,
6 months out of the year. Now, she's
yeah.
70. It has not occurred yet. And I'm hoping it doesn't, right?
That's
And
right.
so some cultures could look down on
Mhm,
facilities,
mhm.
but we're all in
Right.
charge and charged to take care
Mhm,
of the
mhm.
seasoned, right?
Exactly.
And it should start
And
at
I think it's
home.
important and that we need to do that. And
Right,
that's one
right.
reason I really like this topic
Right.
today.
It should
Mhm,
start at
mhm,
home. The children should
mhm,
not be
mhm.
excused from it, right? But at the
Right.
same time, it's a community effort. So when I
Mhm,
look at these
mhm,
different
mhm.
housing options, I look at it
Right.
as it's a community coming
Mhm,
together
mhm.
to assist
Exactly.
with
I
you.
think whether you always say with the children, it takes a village. Well, I
Right.
think
It
it takes a
takes a
village no matter
village.
what
It takes a
age our loved
village.
ones
It
are.
most definitely
Mhm,
takes a village. Matter of fact,
mhm,
that's one of
mhm,
the
mhm.
assisted
Yeah,
community things that can help
yeah.
out with services. Is it takes
Oh,
a village, but
oh,
it
okay.
does.
Oh,
It
that's
takes a
the name of the
village.
organization, Take a Village. Oh, I
Hmm.
like that.
It takes a village, and that's kind of how I looked at
Yeah,
those assisted living or nursing, skilled
right.
nursing facilities,
Mhm,
is that it's a
mhm,
village as long as
mhm.
if the children are available and capable,
Right.
that they assist as well,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then if
And
they're
and
not,
sometimes
then
they're not
that's just
able
the
to.
community
Right,
that's there,
right.
right?
And thank goodness we do have services out there
Hmm.
that's what these people do, and
Hmm.
they're trained and they're great at it,
Right.
you
So
know?
sometimes people are not
Mhm.
financially able to. I
That's
get
the
that.
problem.
But
Yeah.
people can
Yeah, that's tough.
always do something as simple
Mhm,
as reaching out
mhm.
and calling.
Exactly. And there's other people out there that are willing to help too.
Yes.
Sometimes you just need to do research and check it
Yes,
out. So,
yes. I mean,
so
we
we
have
have about
technology, so you can FaceTime, you could
exactly,
do different things of that sort. So
exactly.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
different. If you ever need a list, I will come up with a list of
Yes,
things to send
yeah,
your way.
yeah,
So,
wonderful. And
yeah.
I think that'd be a great idea. I'm
Right.
sure we can post it here somewhere
Yeah,
through
I'll
GQ
definitely
Radio.
post a list of
Yeah.
now. I know of different facilities in Fort Bend. Houston is so large. I don't have
Yeah,
an extensive list, right,
right,
of all of
right.
Houston, but I can definitely add that to it and
Sure,
keep
sure.
updating that. If you know of
Yeah.
any different facilities
Wants
that
to add
fit any of
on,
those, yeah,
right,
just
yes,
add
yes,
it on there
yeah.
and
Well,
and different
Marcelo with GQ
services.
Radio is wonderful, and so I'm sure that
Yes.
he will do this,
Right.
and then we
We'll
can keep
put a
adding.
link
And
on
if
there
you
for
know of
you.
other ones too, that, please keep adding them on, and this could be a great resource.
Especially
So we have
grants and
about 30
services.
seconds left is all.
Sure.
I've enjoyed having you here so
Thank you
much,
so
so how
much.
would you like to sum everything up?
Just basically that, you mentioned I'm with Keller Williams. My organization is called Real Life at Keller Williams because I really do believe that people are worth living life on purpose and
Yeah,
in purpose. And this is part of it, right? We
right.
have different transitions in life, and we shouldn't forget. We plan for the beginning, and we don't
Right.
necessarily take as much time to plan for the end. So we shouldn't forget those who paved the way for us and definitely provide them with the gentle, loving care that they need towards the end. If you need anything, just
Yeah.
give me a call.
Yeah, and that's a great way to end. Thank you
Yeah.
all, and again, happy holidays. And talk to your loved ones. This could be a great time, or early to 2020, and just start talking about it a little bit. So we'll see you in 2020.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Great job.
Yay!